morning. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a wonderful summer. My name is Marla Smithson. I belong to the Shaker Heights security team here. And we want to give a woo! They've asked me to lead you all in the salute, Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. God bless. Welcome back, guys.
Please rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave, home of the
Good morning, everybody. How are you today?
Good morning.
You know why you're all here, right? Okay, you know. Okay, so my name is Jalen Morgan. I am an incoming senior and class president of the class of 2018. I'm here to list a few. I'm here today to list a few of our superintendent's achievements and give him a round of applause for the accomplishments that he and the other people on his team have worked together and formed some of the unique programs that are now available for upcoming Shaker students. With his leadership, he has helped us become one of 8 school districts in North America to offer the rigorous International Baccalaureate program for all students, including the first and only preschool program in Ohio to incorporate IB primary years. His other accomplishments have been beneficial, ranging from academics for the other students and I, staff, administration, and parents. One of my favorite things this man has accomplished is how many bow ties he has, and the amount of snow days we had last year. He has also taught me that when you set a goal, stick to it and follow through until it is completed. I'm proud to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Hutchings.
So first off, let me just say welcome back, everybody. I mean, I'm so glad I'm not the keynote speaker today, so I did not have to put together a big old speech. But I did want to take the moment just to welcome everyone back. You know, our young people, they are so fortunate to have so many educators like you all a part of their lives. Because I know that you touch, that's right. You know, I know that you all touch lives every single day, and you're going to touch a lot more this upcoming year. I must acknowledge, because my wife is not here today, this is the first time I have not had my wife at Convocation. But she is at a meeting at Breakthrough School. She's the CFO for Breakthrough. And they had a finance meeting, so you need to have your CFO at that meeting at 9 a.m. this morning. And I'm going to talk to her CEO about never doing that again. And I didn't want to like pull weight and make her feel bad. So we do have the best half, which are our two children here today. So Mike and Gregory, if you all can just wave, they're here on behalf of my wife. So I'm supposed to make the connections today. Before I do that, we do have a few people from the city that are here. We have Chief Sweeney, we have Chief DeMuth, we have Jerry Chaikin, and then we also have one of our State Board of Education members, Merrill Johnson, who is also here. If you all can just stand for a moment so the audience can see who you all are. We also have other city officials as well as police department officials here in attendance. And if anyone else out there that I forgot, I apologize, but welcome to Shaker Heights City Schools. So I'm supposed to make the connections of why we're here today. And you're going to go back to your buildings this afternoon, and you're going to be able to talk about our data and talk about our accomplishments. We wanted to spend the time today to just set the stage and for us to focus on ourselves. And I know as educators it is very difficult to be selfish because we're very selfless people. But if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't help other people. And today, we're hoping that, we really empower you just to take responsibility of your lives and to take care of your health, to spend time with your families, to spend time with your friends, to do extracurricular things for adults outside of the workplace, and to enjoy life. Because life is really short. And sometimes we get so caught up in the moment that we forget that there's so many wonderful things out there for us to do. So today I was taken completely out of my comfort zone. So I don't have on a bow tie. And I wanted to kick and scream about it, but our assistant director of communications, she was like, well, everyone else is wearing it. So I said, well, I have to be a team player. I have to lead by example. So I'm rocking my t-shirt. A couple of people said I look like I'm coming from Miami Vice today. I take that as a compliment. I tried to jazz it up, But the shirt does have, it's symbolic. I mean, you see the heart and you see Shaker. And this year we want to focus on the fact that Shaker has heart. And heart means a lot of different things. For one, as you all know, there's so many things happening in our nation right now. And one thing that we want to be able to do is to send our kids out into the world as caring individuals. And that's something I try to say at every one of our commencement ceremonies. You can have a number of accolades. You can go to Harvard, you can, get full scholarships, you can play different sports. If you don't have a heart, can you really contribute to our world? And I think that is what we're all about, being caring individuals and having that heart every single day that we come to school. Without heart, you don't have life. And I think we never take the moment to take our hand and place it on our hearts to literally feel the beat of our hearts. That is our lifeline. If it's not beating, you're not here, by the way. But we're partnering with the American Heart Association, and we're partnering with them, or reconnecting with them because we've partnered with them in the past. We're reconnecting with them because it's all about us taking care of our hearts, taking care of our bodies, taking care of our minds and our souls, so that we can give back to the Shaker Heights City Schools. So today you're going to enjoy some fun. We're going to have some laughter today. We're going to hear some heartfelt stories today. Just one really great story, because I don't want to keep you long, because I know that you all said we need to get back into our buildings. And then we're going to conclude, and you're going to go back into your schools, and I hope start off a wonderful year. But there's one thing I do want to say, and this was mentioned to me earlier. Where's Mr. Keenley? He's around here somewhere. He's over there. He said, so Dr. Hutchins, you said heart, but then the board sends donuts to all the schools today. What's going on with that? And he's right. We need to fix that. I don't know who sent the donuts. I own it. I'm the superintendent. I own it. But I also said, but you do have to live a little, right? You got to live a little. That's right. Balance. Balance. Good IB learner attribute. So it's my responsibility now to, one, just thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the work that you all do every single day for our young people. It is still truly an honor for me to serve this wonderful community, and I appreciate the fact that I am still here and still able to serve our young people. So I'm going to introduce a special presentation by our Raiderettes and our high school cheerleaders, and it might make you move your body a little bit. So if you want to get up out of your seat, it's okay, because remember, it's all about us moving the body and taking care of our hearts and having a good time. So thank you all so much, and welcome back.
Let's move. Let's I saw some of you getting your workout in, including Dr. Hutchings. So, for those of you who don't know me or recognize me by the little photo on my email, or the fact that I am the voice of Shaker for the snow days, I'm Krista Miller, and I am the Assistant Director of Communications for Shaker Heights Schools. I'm up here today because I have a story to share with you. It's a story about not taking anything for granted. On September 22nd, 2006, my husband had seconds to whisper these words to me. "You are going to be okay. I love you. You will be okay." That was right before I was taken into a Cleveland Clinic operating room for an emergency triple bypass surgery. I was 26. You see, I was born with a genetic condition called Marfan syndrome. Marfan syndrome is a connective tissue disorder that affects many things. It's why I'm so tall. It's why I wear glasses. But the main life-threatening symptom of Marfan syndrome is that you're at risk for an aortic dissection. My mom passed away from an aortic dissection on September 9th, 2000, when I was only 20 years old. For my entire life, having Marfan was no big deal. It got me out of gym class. But after she died, everything changed. I suddenly worried about every weird pain, every weird beat, and I was afraid, once we got married, to even go on vacation with my husband to anywhere remotely remote. What if something happened to me? It's all I could think about. So on September 19th, 2006, I decided to go in for elective surgery to replace part of my aorta. The surgery was successful, but little did we know that 3 days later, I would be back in that OR with complications. My arteries were inflamed from the surgery, and blood flow blocked, couldn't get back to my heart. At 26 years old, I was essentially having a heart attack. The triple bypass surgery saved my life, but it was not an easy road back. I was in the hospital for 62 days. My heart was so weak that I had a balloon pump helping it to function for 5 days in the OR, and they couldn't close my chest. All, well, by the way, while I was mostly conscious. 11 years later, my husband and I still laugh at the fact that I was writing notes to him at the time, and I would trail off because I would fall asleep. I had a tracheotomy. I was unable to speak for 6 weeks, and I was literally hours away from being put on the heart transplant list before my body started to recover and respond. I was in a hospital bed for so long that once I was released, I had to work with physical therapy to regain the strength to walk. In 2009, I had to have a third surgery, this time to repair the damage caused by the first surgeries. But my husband Jason and I set a goal. We were going to start a family. My biggest fear when I went in for surgery the first time was that I wouldn't ever get to be a mother. So we decided that that wouldn't be the fear this time. In short, the surgery was a success. I'm here. And much less eventful than the first hospital stay. And then, in 2010, we got to experience our goal. We adopted a baby girl and became parents. I tell you this story because I don't want you to take anything for granted. I know many of you have had similar challenges and feel the same way. I don't take anything for granted now. I don't take for granted that I've had the opportunities to share my story with thousands of people across Cleveland. I don't take for granted that I get to call all of you my colleagues. And I don't take for granted that you now know my story. That's what the Shaker Has Heart campaign is about. Our initiative today is challenging you to take care of yourself, but I challenge you to go one step further. Take care of each other. We all have 5,200 reasons to take care of ourselves and each other. And my special reason is sitting right here in the front row. Can you tell everyone your name?
My name is Emerson.
And what grade and what school are you going to?
Second grade
Where?
at Loma.
So as she said, this is my daughter Emerson, and she will be going into second grade. And I will never take for granted that I get to be her mother.
Good morning, everybody. That was an amazing testimony from Kristen. Can we give her another big round of applause for sharing that? Well, first of all, I want to thank each of you and your superintendent for inviting me here today. My name is Valerie Weber, and I'm with the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association. So as we can see from the testimony from Kristen, heart conditions, heart disease, and stroke, it really does not care your age, your race, where you grew up, what your background is. It has effect on all of us and can have effect on all of us. So I'd like to start out my presentation with a visual. So anyone in the room that knows someone who has a heart condition, has had a heart attack or a stroke, if you could please raise your hand. Okay, so let's take a look around the room briefly. Okay, so as you can see, almost everyone raised their hand. So what we know about heart disease is the #1 killer of all Americans in the United States, and stroke is number 5. So we have a big task ahead of us to lower those numbers, and we want to do that through educating our students, our staff, on how to keep their hearts super healthy. And that's why I'm here today, to talk to you a little bit about what we do at the American Heart Association. I do see some familiar faces. I've met and worked with some of you in the past, and looking forward to working with you this year. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about is our 2020 vision with the American Heart Association. So what our goal is to reduce heart disease by 20% and also increase the heart health of all Americans by 20% by the year 2020. And in order to do that, we need your help. So in our school systems currently nationwide, we're working with 38,000 schools, and we're already working with some of the schools here in Shaker. So what we'd like to do is work with 100% of the schools to do education and advocacy and raise awareness about heart disease and stroke. So right now, we're in the process of creating a partnership between the Shaker Heights schools and the American Heart Association for this school year, and I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you as we educate our students, staff, and increase our heart health and awareness. So thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Podol, and I'm currently serving as the high school student body president. Oh, thanks. Hi, Mom. I've been in the Shaker school system since kindergarten, and I would like to take a moment to thank all of our teachers and staff members for being here. You all truly are what makes Shaker so great. Today, it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Leon Bibb. After graduating from Bowling Green State University, Mr. Bibb spent 15 years working his way up through the ranks of the news industry in Cleveland, Toledo, and Columbus. In 1976, he became the first African-American primetime anchor in Ohio. Additionally, as the host of shows like Kaleidoscope and Our Hometown, Bibb interviewed numerous political leaders and notable figures, including President Barack Obama. Bibb's body of work reflects his belief that the true wealth of a nation lies not in its gold and silver, but in the knowledge of its people. Throughout his career, he has won countless awards, such as the Distinguished Journalist Award from the Society for Professional Journalists and 6 local Emmys. Mr. Bibb and his wife are longstanding Shaker residents. His children and his grandchildren have all attended Shaker schools, and Mr. Bibb has been a very active member in our community. Though Mr. Bibb retired earlier this month, he is leaving an incredible legacy behind. Thank you again for coming together today. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Leon Bibb.
Thank you. Thank you all. It's good to be here. It's good. I retired a week and a half ago, and I'm still trying to. It's good to have someplace to go this morning. I'm still trying to find my way through retirement, as my wife Marguerite will attest. And I get up in the morning and I look out one window, and then I walk to the next window and I look out that window for a while to see what I'm going to do today. But we're still putting it together, and it has been a long 38-year career here in Cleveland television at 2 stations. And I still think I'm going to sneak back into television one way or the other. I'm going to do something on the side. I'm pretty certain of that. So we've been talking. So I'm retired, but kind of not retired in a way. You know what I mean? We're still piecing it through together. It was good to see Greg Hutchings up on the dance floor. I mean, I know he had a lot of moves to make here in Shaker, but he had more moves than I thought. You know. So it was good to see you, Greg, Superintendent Hutchings, and it's good to be with all of you. Good to have our police and fire forces here as well. We love what they do. We honor what they do because they keep us safe, and I think we ought to give some. My wife Marguerite's here. Marguerite, if you'll stand. She hates to do this, but I'll ask her to stand anyway. Retired school teacher herself, so she knows very much what you are dealing with. My son-in-law, Bill Clausen, is here, and Bill, you'll stand. He's on the Board of Education. And Jennifer is here. I know Jennifer, our daughter, is here. Are you here, Jennifer? Jennifer, are you here? Jennifer's here somewhere in the back, on the wall. Our daughter Jennifer on the wall back there. Jennifer, Bill's wife, our daughter Jennifer, and our other daughter Allison, who's in suburban Washington, D.C., are both graduates of the Shaker school system. And as Rachel said just a little bit ago, we've got 2 grandkids who are in the school system. Alexa is a freshman, ninth grader coming into Shaker Heights High School. She'll be playing the quad 4 drums in the marching band, percussionist, as a freshman. Hey, And our grandson, her brother Will Clausen, is trumpet. He's leading the trumpet section for the Shaker Heights Marching Band and on the baseball team. We love Shaker, as Kristen Miller talks about her heart, and Valerie Weber talked about the American Heart Association. I agree. We love Shaker. Not thinking today, I just put on a tie. And I should have put on a red tie, but not thinking, I just grabbed a tie that to go with the blue suit that I was wearing. I hope you don't mind if I get out of that. And they gave me a shirt, so I think I ought to put on the shirt because. Oh. I do love Shaker. We write checks to Shaker through our property taxes, we keep the system going, and we vote for the bond levies and the issues and all of that. We've never voted against one. Scott Stevens, who is the communications director he asked me if I'd tell a little bit about my career. I'm just going to give you my career in about 20 seconds. Just because he asked me to do this. I've done a lot of different kinds of interviews. I've interviewed a lot of people, the famous and the infamous, all kinds of people, including James Earl Ray, the convicted assassin of Martin Luther King. I interviewed him in prison in 1978. I've covered Ku Klux Klan rallies where there were anti-Klan and Klan rally people, and we got caught in the confrontation in Columbus, Ohio, and it was violent, and some of us got roughed up who were reporters, and a lot of people got roughed up, and so I know what we're dealing with in this country this very week. We have dealt with for years. I've been in situations exactly like that. We've covered that. We've covered the first Gulf War in 1991-92. I went over to the Gulf with a Cleveland-based military unit. I have flown with the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds in my career. I have interviewed 2 presidents at the White House, Bush, the elder, and Obama. I've interviewed a man who did some killing at Peter B. Lewis building at Case Western Reserve University some years ago. He was angry about people or whatever, and we did a jailhouse interview with him. My mother was alive at the time. She hated that I asked the question, would you have shot anybody who was there? And he says, I would have shot anybody who was there, including you, sir, had you been there. So that was sobering for me and much more sobering for my mother. My mother said, why would you ask such a crazy question? I said, well, mother, that's what I do. He's in prison now. He'll be in prison for the rest of his life. I've interviewed Paul Tibbets, who dropped the bomb, who flew the Enola Gay and dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, August the 6th, 1945. He lived in Columbus for many years, and when we were doing television down there in Columbus. And I photographed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when I was interning with the Cleveland Call-and-Post newspaper. I was just a kid, and I had an opportunity to photograph Martin Luther King working for the Call-and-Post as an intern, and they had it on the front page of the newspaper one summer in a couple of years before his assassination. And I've covered a lot of school districts. I've been in this school district. We've done stories on the marching band when you guys went over to Spain last time. You had an international trip. That was wonderful. So we did a wonderful story on that just before leaving. I love education. I love teachers. I love those who are in the education process, whether they are bus drivers or security guards or teachers or administrators or guidance counselors or coaches or what have you. I love you all. I guess my first teacher was my mother. And she tells me one of the first questions she remembers my asking her, this was before kindergarten now, was, why don't the birds wear shoes? Don't their feet get cold? Mother answered the question. I forgot what the answer was, but mother answered the question. But she was my first teacher, and my father, of course, my first teachers. When I was 5 years old, I lived on Parkgate Avenue in the city of Cleveland, right across the street from what was called Miles Standish Elementary School. It is now called Michael R. White Elementary School, named after the former mayor of Cleveland, who was also a kid in the neighborhood. Michael and I grew up together. We've known each other for years. But on my first day of kindergarten, almost 5 years old, I was 4 and 11 months, something like that. My mother walked me across the street. Dad had gone to work, and mother walked me across, down the front steps of the house to the curb, and in the crosswalk, we waited for the guard. There was a guard there with a little flag, a kid who would say, it's open now, you can walk across the crosswalk. We walked across the street, and I walked along the fence, the wrought iron fence of Miles Standish Elementary School, and my mother held my hand, and she took me to the back section of the school, the kindergarten room, where there was a teacher by the name of Miss Lee. Miss Lee was a young teacher, just a couple of years out of college herself. And my mother said, "This is my son, Leon." And Miss Lee said, "Come with me, Leon. I can remember this. Come with me, Leon." My mother had tears in her eyes. You see, I am the firstborn. My sister was not yet born. And my mother is taking me to my first day of school right across the street. Mother says in so many words, and she has backed this story up. I talked to her many times about this story. And Mother said, "Leon is a real sensitive boy. Now, Miss Lee, if you need anything, if you need me to come help out because of his sensitivities or anything, you just call us. We live right across the street." And Miss Lee said, "Mrs. Bibb, Leon will be fine. Come with me, Leon." And I put my hand in hers, and she led me in. And that began my formal education. From there, I went to the first grade. And from there, I went to the second grade of Nancy Nicholson. And from there, the third grade of Miss Dressler. To the fourth grade of Peggy O'Neill Stevens, who is still alive and who I still have contact with, my fourth grade teacher. Mr. Tom Dempsey took me at the fifth grade. And then Mr. Robert Taylor took us in at the sixth grade. Mr. Taylor asked me one day, he said, "How would you like to write the graduation play for you sixth graders leaving Miles Standish Elementary on your way to middle school?" We called it junior high in those days. I said, "I would love to do that." He says, "I notice you're very good with writing and your spelling is very good. I think you would be good as the author of the play, Leon, for graduation." So we worked on this play. We worked on it for several weeks. I wrote most of it. Mr. Robert Taylor helped me with the transitions around the edges. He lived on Kempton Avenue, which was not far from where I lived, maybe 2 blocks from where I lived. And sometimes after school, I would go to Mr. Taylor's home to be with him and his wife and their children, and we'd work on the play. My parents knew him very well. They knew exactly where I was, and we worked on this play. Mr. Taylor was a friend of the family, you could say. When it came time to cast the play, put everybody in it, the sixth graders. Being no slouch, I cast myself in one of the key plays. I was not the lead actor, but I could have been best supporting actor and author. And the play was about a machine that was a time machine. We kids could step into the time machine and we could go forward in time or we could go back in time. And we would go all the way up to the year 2000, a long way away, and we would see how things looked in the year 2000. Conversely, we would go back to 1776 and watch the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And we had kids playing the founders of the nation signing the Declaration of Independence. I didn't know what to call my time machine, but I'd been watching television a lot, and I knew that there was a community called Parma. I'd heard about Parma. I'd never been to Parma. There was always something going on in Parma. So I said, I'll call the machine a Parmascope. They love this story in Parma, by the way. That day, Mr. Robert Taylor came to me at the end of the play, and we kids were all in the gymnasium, and we were having ice cream and cake and punch. And the mothers and fathers had been in the audience just as you're in the audience when we had our play on the stage, and they applauded like crazy that day. And they introduced everybody who had anything to do with the play. We actors, we came out, and they introduced me as the author of the play, and our lighting guys, and our orchestra, which was in the orchestra pit down below. They were there. We all took bows, and mothers and fathers applauded like crazy because of the educational process. That day, Mr. Robert Taylor came to me, and he put his hands on my 11-year-old shoulders. He said, "Son, I want you to know something. You have a gift. It is a gift of words. They come to you, don't they?" And I kind of dropped my head, and I says, "Yes, sir." He pulled my chin up. He says, "It's okay. It is a gift. It is a gift that you have been given And if I were you, Leon, I would think about a career where I could use words. I see you as a playwright or a journalist. All of a sudden, a light went off. In my brain, a light went off. Journalism. Journalism. As God is my witness, that is the precise moment in time I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my working life, or for the beginning of my working life. At the 6th grade, that June afternoon at Miles Standish Elementary School, standing in the gymnasium right next to the radiator, and there was a room that fed off the gymnasium, which was room 103. That was our homeroom. That was my room. And I took a photograph of Mr. Robert Taylor standing there. Years later, after I had gone into television, and I'd known Mr. Taylor socially. We had seen him on the dance floor, moving just like Greg Hutchings, moving just like him over the years. When I came back to Cleveland in 1979 to work in television, we reconnected, the teacher and the student, and we would see each other socially. We would see each other at events, cultural events and social events. And one day I got a call that Mr. Taylor was retiring from the school system. He had been a teacher for many years and later a principal. He was retiring, and they wanted me to come and be one of the students who would speak about my time with Mr. Taylor. I caught him around the age of 25 or 26. He was just out of college, but he went on to work for more than 30 years in the district, the Cleveland district. So I was one of the people who spoke. And publicly, I told the story of the play and Mr. Taylor. I told it for the first time publicly with an audience of people at his retirement party, which was held at a big hotel downtown. Mr. Taylor cried. I cried. And the audience cried. And we embraced, the teacher and the student. The teacher who took 10 seconds to say, "You have a talent, son. It is a talent from God. If I were you, I would think about a career where I could write. I see you as a playwright or a journalist. That's what you are, Leon. Now go have some fun with the rest of your friends and eat some ice cream." 10 seconds affected my direction. Well, you see where I'm going with this now. You see where I'm setting you up, because the setup is here. All of you have that impact. The bus drivers have that impact. I think of the bus drivers who took me from Miles Standish Elementary School to the very first time I ever walked into Severance Hall, home of the Cleveland Orchestra, on an afternoon where it was like Kids' Day, and the orchestra was playing, and the bus drivers took us there. And every time I have been in Severance Hall, every time, and have been many, many times over the years, I always look up to the balcony, right up in the middle, right up in there. That's where I sat. That's where I first heard Beethoven played live. That's where I first heard it. But the bus drivers took us there, and the teachers took us there. The power of one person can have an impact on you. The power of one teacher, the power of one administrator, the power of one principal, the power of one custodian, the power of one bus driver. On Parkgate Avenue, right across, because I lived across the street from the school, we got to know the night watchman who walked around that school during the evening hours. He became a friend of ours. The boys in the neighborhood, we knew him very well, and we would go over sit with him. Our parents would hear our voices in the darkness of the playground because we would be with an adult. Mr. Junior Bell was his name. And we boys get together sometimes and have reunions. And the boys I grew up with, I lived for 17 years in the same house on Parkgate Avenue. We boys would get together and have reunions about our neighborhood and growing up and playing Little League baseball and doing all the things that we've done. There's Carl Crew. I told him yesterday, I saw him at the funeral of his sister. I told him, Carl, I'm going to mention you because Carl grew up in the Cleveland school system. And Carl is a psychiatrist in Cincinnati, a medical doctor, educated at Yale, medical degree from University of Cincinnati. Alan is there. Alan, my cousin, he lived next door. He's an a pilot force for a corporation. He flies their executives all over the world. Myron, his brother, was in the Shell pipeline business. He ran a factory where oil is brought in with underground pipelines which crisscross the United States. He brought that oil into big factories. He was in charge of the oil pipeline at one particular factory in the Midwestern part of the United States. Richard Baker, who lived down the street, he was a police officer with Cuyahoga Community College, retired from there, and is now a bailiff with the courts of neighboring Cleveland Heights. All of us were there, all of us, and we grew up. We went to that school across the street where teachers prepared us for the world. When we get together, and if Mr. Bell, Junior Bell, the old security guard, if we can find him, and if he's able to, we bring him into the fold because he gave us something. So the security guards, the night watchmen, the custodians, the cafeteria workers, I remember so many of them, and I remember them by name. My fourth grade teacher, Peggy Stevens, calls me when she needs something. Leon, I need you to get this on the air. Can you go on the air and say this for me? I said, okay. I want to call her Miss O'Neill. I said, okay, call me Peggy. I said, okay, Peggy. But she and I are in touch with each other. You see, we are all balls on a billiard table, and we affect each other's direction by bumping into each other. You are affecting the lives of young people. I want to end with a special story. I'm going to read it because I wrote it out, and sometimes I have trouble getting through it just telling it, because sometimes tears come to my eyes. Tears may come to yours as well. It's a good story, a positive story. I'm just an old storyteller, but you know that from if you've watched me for the last 38 years. It is called The Special Story of Miss Thompson. I know of a school teacher named Miss Thompson. Every year when she met her new students, she would say, "Boys and girls, I love you all the same. I have no favorites." Of course, she was not being completely truthful. Sometimes teachers do have favorites. What is worse, sometimes teachers have students they simply do not like. Teddy Stollard was a boy that Miss Thompson just didn't like, and for good reason. He just didn't seem interested in school. There was a deadpan blank expression on his face, and his eyes were glassy and had an unfocused appearance. When she spoke to Teddy, he always answered in monosyllables. His clothes were musty, his hair was unkempt, he was not an attractive boy, and she didn't think he was very likable. Whenever she marked Teddy's papers, she got a certain perverse pleasure out of putting X's next to the wrong answers. And when she put the F's at the top of the paper, she always did that with a flair. She should have known better, because she had Teddy's records, and she knew more about him than she wanted to admit. This is what Teddy's records read. First grade, Teddy shows promise with his work and attitude, but poor home situation. Second grade, Teddy could do better. Mother is seriously ill. He receives little help at home. Third grade, Teddy was a good boy, but too serious. He is a slow learner. His mother died this year. Fourth grade, Teddy is very slow but well behaved. His father shows absolutely no interest. Christmas came, and the boys and girls in Miss Thompson's class brought her Christmas presents. They piled the presents on her desk and crowded around to watch her open them. Among the presents was one from Teddy Stollard. She was surprised that he had brought her a gift, but indeed, Teddy brought a gift. Teddy's gift was wrapped in brown paper and held together with Scotch tape. On the paper were written the simple words, "For Miss Thompson, from Teddy." When she opened Teddy's presents, out fell a gaudy rhinestone bracelet with half the stones missing, along with a bottle of cheap perfume. The other boys and girls in the class began to giggle and smirk over Teddy's gifts, but Miss Thompson at least had enough sense to silence them and immediately put on the bracelet and put some of the perfume on her wrist. Holding her wrist up to the other children to smell, she says, "Children, doesn't the perfume smell nice? Doesn't that smell lovely, children?" And the children, taking their cue from the teacher, Miss Thompson, they readily agreed. "Ooh, ah, nice going, Teddy. That was real nice, Teddy. You made her feel real good, Teddy. Nice going, Teddy," said the rest of the kids in the class. At the end of the day, when school was over and the children had left, Teddy lingered behind. He slowly came over to her desk and said softly, Miss Thompson, you smell just like my mother. And her bracelet really looks pretty on you too. I'm glad you like my presents, Miss Thompson." When Teddy left, Miss Thompson got down on her knees and asked God to forgive her. When the children came back to school, they were welcomed by a brand new teacher. Miss Thompson had become a brand new person. She had no longer was just a teacher. She'd become an agent of something higher. She was now a person committed to loving her children and doing things that would live on after her. She helped all of the children, especially the slow ones, and especially Teddy Stollard. By the end of the school year, Teddy showed a dramatic improvement. He had caught up with most of the students and was even ahead of some. She didn't hear from Teddy for a long time. Then one day she received a note. "Dear Miss Thompson, I want you to be the first to know I'll be graduating second in my class. Love, Teddy Stollard." 4 years later, another note. "Dear Miss Thompson, they just told me I'll be graduating first in my class. I wanted you to be the first to know. The university has not been easy, but I liked it. Love, Teddy Stollard." 4 years later, another note. "Dear Miss Thompson, as of today, I am Theodore Stollard, MD, medical doctor. How about that? Wanted you to be the first to know. By the way, I'm getting married next month, the 27th of the month. I want you to come and sit where my mother would sit, were she alive. You are the only family I have now, Miss Thompson. You see, Dad died last year. Love, Teddy Stollard." Miss Thompson went to that wedding and sat where Teddy's mother would have sat. She deserved to sit there. She had done something for Teddy that he could never forget. Here you are. Here you are. Here you are, all ready for a new school system and a new school year. Teddy Stollards by the hundreds are out there, and they're coming to you. And they're asking you, take me to my future. Take me to my future. You want to touch the future? Love a child. Love a student. When Mr. Taylor died just a few years ago, my sixth grade teacher, I saw it in the newspaper, in the plain dealer death notices. I called his wife, Mrs. Taylor. They lived over in Bay Village. I called her and she says, "Yes, Bob is gone. You're going to be there, aren't you, Leon?" I says, Mrs. Taylor, "Yes, I will." The old sixth grade teacher who had passed on, he had lived a long, long time and passed away. I went to the funeral that day, just a few years ago. And when I walked in, I sat in the back of the funeral chapel. Mrs. Taylor saw me and went back and got me. "Not here, Leon. Sit with the family. Sit with me." You see, Mr. Taylor, Bob always said when he saw me on television, "That's my boy. That's my boy."
Wow. This is my first convocation. This is the start of the school year, my first time. I'm here representing the Shaker Schools Foundation, and if Mr. Bibb had stayed here, I would have thanked him because he has supported the Shaker Schools Foundation. He and his wife attended last year's Red and White, so we appreciate his support. We appreciate his daughter, who is planning her upcoming reunion with another person in the room, Darlene Garrison. Darlene, where are you? Oh! They are the proud class of '88. So I represent the Shaker Schools Foundation, but I also represent a new function, Alumni Relations. So if you would humor me, all of you Shaker Schools alums, if you could stand up and show your pride, I would love that. Okay, was that a goosebump moment? Ugh, amazing, amazing. So we all have a Shaker story. As I said, I'm a new employee, so I had the privilege to meet all of the other new employees. And we heard why they chose to work for Shaker Schools. And everybody has an amazing reason. They want to be here. They want to help our kids be successful. And Mr. Bibb talked about our bus drivers, Mrs. Clemens, who is the first person kids see in the morning, the last person they see at night. With her smile, if a child is a little late, she waits as they run out the door. Our elementary school teachers, Andy Hassel, I've known her to stay after school if a second grader has trouble reading. Also, our coaches, Coach Babinick. He has been an amazing role model and mentor to so many of our student athletes and baseball players. I know all these people touch the lives of our kids because they touched my two sons' lives. They made a difference to our family. And one of the best parts about my job, I can call teachers by their first name now. I couldn't do that when I was a Shaker mom, so that's a perk of my job. So I'm here to talk about how we can do just a little more. Each of us touch the lives of our students, but when we pull together and we work as a team, the sum is greater than the total of those parts. So I'm representing the Shaker Schools Foundation and our employee giving campaign called Charity Choice. You will get an email shortly amongst all the other start of school emails, but the reason that this one's really important is that by making a small donation, you can support our students, you can support our teachers, you can help us give each student the best education they can get in Shaker. There'll be an email. You can choose United Way and designate the American Heart Association. We heard a compelling reason why we should give to them. But we all know the compelling reasons to give to Shaker School Foundation. It's because of Maverick, a young man who graduated this last year, who personally thanked the foundation and our donors because he was able to make the trip to New York City with the symphonic orchestra. They didn't have the financial resources. His mother had just had a stroke, but he got to go. Music has been an important part of his life and a healer, and he is a thankful beneficiary of the foundation. Aaron was a graduate in 2016, Brian? Okay, 2016. He was in the Summer Academy's first class that the foundation supported. And because of that, Aaron told me he came into the high school as an incoming freshman with confidence that he succeeded due to the extra help he received from a program funded by the foundation. Angela is one of our Shaker's first class parents. She's a Shaker grad who moved back here from Spain, and she was looking for a preschool for her younger daughter and thought she would never find one that was the quality program her older daughter had in Spain. Well, we proved her wrong with Shaker's first class. She's loved it, she's an advocate, and she's sorry her older daughter didn't have that experience. And then the last story is a young man I spoke to who was one of the first students in our IC. He wasn't successful in the traditional high school. He graduated. He was the first high school graduate in his family. So funds raised for the foundation help these kids, Maverick, Aaron, this young man who is proud because he's the first high school graduate. And there's more Aarons, there's more Mavericks, there's more kids in the IC. So I want to give you a little story problem. If the 830 of us in this room today donated $2 a pay period, what would the revenue, the funds generated to help these kids, to help people afflicted with heart disease? I'm hoping the treasurer can do the math for us. Brian?
Using my handy cell phone calculator, approximately is $40,000.
$40,000. $2 per pay period. And Brian has suggested to ease the process, he will personally make sure that those payroll deductions are made. Thank you, Brian. So, when you get the email and the letter that asks you to consider donating, please do. To each of us, it would be $48 a year. So with $48, we can't do a whole lot to help, but the power is in the numbers. So by coming together to being a team, $40,000 can really impact our students and folks that face heart disease. So I ask you to join Dr. Hutchings, myself, and the cabinet who want to pledge to donate to Charity Choice. So please consider that. And now I have the pleasure to welcome the president of our school board to the microphone.
Good morning. I'm Alex Liston-Dykema, and I am president of our school board, and I am here on behalf of the entire board to welcome all of you back for the 2017-18 school year. Now, as the year goes on, it's easy for us to get caught up in the details involved in overseeing the district: budgets, facilities, testing, curriculum, all of these things. But we know that what really makes a difference for our students, what really impacts their growth, their development, all of the good things that happen to them are the people that are involved in their lives, in our buildings, every day. The job that you all are about to go back to, the work you're about to begin again, is challenging and extremely meaningful. So on behalf of our entire community, I want to thank you in advance for the hours, the days, the weeks, the months of effort and achievement that lie ahead. So thank you all and welcome back. Brian, you're up.
All right. Good morning, Shaker faculty and staff. This is one of my favorite speeches to give at the beginning of the year. As president of the Shaker Heights Teachers Association and Support Teachers, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the opening of the 2017-2018 school year. It looks to be an exciting year as our over 459 members welcome 30 new teachers and support teachers to our ranks. Welcome to all of you as you begin your new career here at Shaker. Let's give our new teachers and support teachers a round of applause. Welcome. It is also an honor to work alongside our colleagues in Local 200, custodians, grounds, and bus drivers, OPSI. Give them a little round of applause. OPSI Local 149, secretarial and clerical. 152, security. And 153, classroom aides. As we all know, these are the professionals who help us do our jobs as well as we do, keep us safe, and who keep our buildings looking so incredible, especially over the summer. It promises to be another excellent school year. When your home, building, or group is named, please let us hear from you. All right, here we go. Woodbury. All right. Data and District Library Media Office. Oh, come on. DLNR. There we go. Fernway. All right. Onaway. Wow. The Administration Building. Boulevard. Service Center and Grounds. They're out there mowing, huh? Mercer. Transportation. All right. Lomond. The middle school. Wow, I'm impressed. And last but not least, the high school, including the Innovative Center for Personalized Learning. It's great to hear from each of our home buildings and to welcome our new staff. I wish the best for you as you begin this year supporting the 5,200 students who call Shaker Heights their home. Finally, I look forward to seeing each of you in the hallways, classrooms, performance spaces, and athletic fields of Shaker Heights City Schools. Thank you, and have a great beginning of the school year.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Kanika Christian, and I am the PTO Council President. And on behalf, I'm sure, as most parents feel, I want to say we missed you. These 3 months felt like 6 months. I found myself thinking about the transportation department as I had to take my kids to and fro from camp and activities. I thought about security as they played on the playground and keeping them safe. I thought about food services as they were hungry all the time. Most of all, it was the teachers for providing structure, activities, and knowledge. I truly missed you. I look forward this year to working with your PTO council, your PTO presidents in your building, and I hope that you are able to talk to the officers there so that you can give them your ideas. We love to collaborate, and we use them to enrich the educational lives of our students. And I hope that you are able to know that you are the superheroes of our students. So please have a great year, and thank you.
It always seems like it gets quieter when I come up. My name is James Dean. I'm Local 200's president at SEIU. I'd like to say welcome back for this 2017-2018 school year. I would like to quickly speak about having a grateful heart. A grateful heart. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial and acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to charity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. I say this, that is a quick excerpt from a speech given by a BYU student named Ray L. Huntington. I say this because I'm grateful to work for Shaker. I started in 2007, and I truly love my job. I'm a head custodian at Mercer. Yes, sir. Thank you. Woohoo! And I find no matter what job you have or what role you play in the district, we all are one. And we all have the same vision, and that I just truly love working here. You know what I'm saying? I truly love working here. I'm grateful for the place that I work, I'm grateful for working for the students, our stakeholders, community members, our parents. I'm grateful for having an opportunity to represent my local. And I would just like to pledge that we pour more love into one another, work harder, and continue working towards our mission statement and our vision of the excellence, equity, and exploration. And I say this once again, I thank you. I thank you for all the words of affirmation and of gratitude, and have a great year.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Julie Vargo, and I'm the new president of OPSI Local 149. First, I want to thank our past presidents, Hyla Schwartz and Lorene Ryder, and our new vice president, our new vice president, Betsy Murray, May Moracle, our treasurer, and Donna Sagetsky, our secretary. Even the secretaries need a good secretary. These 5 women have served this local faithfully and passionately for many, many years, and we are all deeply in their debt. I know I could not do this without all of them, so thank you all so much. I was asked to attend the Leadership Institute this summer, and the theme was construction, constructing a new school year. It was an interesting metaphor, and it made me take a closer look at the ways in which the members of my bargaining unit and the other bargaining units contribute to building our district. When you look at the facilities initiatives on our website, you see the names of the architects and the project managers, but you don't know who the people are who ultimately do the work. There are glazers and welders, carpenters and electricians, all of whom must do their piece of the job to complete the project. Without these workers, the amazing ideas and the beautiful images remain just that, great ideas on paper. It is the workers who complete the build and make those ideas take form. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank each of the members of this staff who quietly and tirelessly put the bricks and mortar in place. They make sure we are safe. They ensure that we all have the tools we need to complete our jobs. They troubleshoot the problems that arise when the parts just don't quite fit. They ensure that the people who the buildings are meant to serve can get there, and that they are warm and dry, and have a clean, beautiful environment to do what they have come to do, to get a top-notch education. And most importantly, they watch out for and support one another to achieve this common goal. It is an honor and a privilege to have been elected by the members of Local 149 to be their president and their advocate, and I'm grateful to them for placing this trust in me. But it is also an honor and a privilege to call each one of you my colleague. Please know that the work you do does not go unnoticed, and that without all of you, every single one of you, our structure crumbles. Thank you all for everything you do for this district and for everything you will do to construct a successful school year. Solidarity, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mike Bush with the security team and union president of Local 152. Well, here we go again with another school year. It's upon us. You guys ready? You guys ready? Okay, well, as security, we plan on doing what we always have been doing, and that is working with the staff, the students, the parents, and the administration. I strongly believe we all share the same common goal, and that is to have a full, successful school year. And if we all continue to work together as a team, work as one unit, support each other, back each other up, then nothing will stop us. After all, we're all in this together. Have a safe and great school year. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning. My name is Angel Quarterman. I'm a paraprofessional at Farnaway. I'm also the president for Local 153. I represent paraprofessionals, bus monitors, and swim instructors. I would like to welcome everyone back to a new school year. I'll keep my remarks brief. We all have come together to do a job that requires grit, integrity, creativity, and most of all, heart. There will be students this year who will require additional assistance, maybe one-on-one instruction, tutoring, and on occasion, TLC to get them through the day. We are the ones that can give them all that and more. It takes a village to raise all children. We are that village. In closing, I found this quote by Ralph Ellison to be quite remarkable and profound. I want to leave these words with you. Let's not play these kids cheap. Let's find out what they have. What do they have that is a strength? What do they have that you can approach and build a bridge upon? Education is all a matter of building bridges, it seems to me. Environment is bouncing everything off everybody in this country. The question is, how can you relate the environment to yourself? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. You know, as I sat there and I listened to the various speakers and saw so many of my colleagues that I don't see during the school year, all I can think about is what we all know, and that is how much work it takes to get the school year ready. And this is the time of year where we're thinking, you know, one more to-do list, let me do one more thing, let me put up one more bulletin board, let me plan one more activity, let me plan one more social activity to make sure we feel like a team. And my mind went back to even my elderly grandfather, and people are running to the community. They will say in a minute, oh, school's out, right? So you're not doing anything all summer. And that's when you want to sometimes become violent, because it takes a lot of work to make sure we are ready to give our children the best. And I hope even in that environment of the busyness that this time together has been a good time for you, and it's caused you to pause and think and reflect. And hopefully there has been something said today that you can tuck away for the tough times. Shaker does have heart. We are a team. We love each other. We are a family. Family doesn't mean we never disagree, but Shaker has heart. These children are counting on us. And sometimes the ones that are counting on us aren't the ones that we really think are counting on us. So just think about all that has been said today. Take it with you. Tuck it away. Tuck it away when January rolls around and you look at the calendar and you say, dang, not one day off. So, you know, there are things that were said today that are perfect for those times. And I used to tell my students the days off were for us. They really weren't for them. They were for us to get a break from them. So just know that we realize how hard the work is. I think there's a mystification of central office. We're just like you all. We're trying to figure out things. We're trying to move mountains. We're behind you. Even if you don't see us, we're behind you, and we're fighting for you, and we're fighting for these children. So just know we are here. We hope this time together has been beneficial. We know it took you away from different things that you need to be doing, but this is important. Being a team is important, and being together is important. So as we prepare to leave, I just want to say it was great to see you all. And who knows how fast this year will fly. It seems like we were just here and I was just standing up here. So thank you for your time. I'm going to explain a little bit about dismissal. It's a little bit different than it's been in the past. So if you walked, obviously you're going to walk back if that's what you want to do. The buses are on the oval. So you don't have to wait for me to call the buses. You don't have to wait for your bus to arrive. And I'm going to say this, and we laugh about teachers and adults being very much like children of following directions, because they asked me to say to you all, please get on the same bus you came here on. True story. They said last year people were trying to get on the wrong buses, so I'm just saying, if you try to get on the wrong bus, we're going to take your picture and we're going to tweet it, okay? Please get on the bus for the school that you came here from. Have a great year.